In case you haven't heard, Stephanie Meyer has just recently announced that she will be adding an additional book to the Twilight Saga called Midnight Sun. And woof, buckle up. I know you've got questions. I've got more questions. Okay, first of all, here are the confirmed facts. The book is called Midnight Sun. It's coming out August 2020. It's been about 12 years from the current date since Stephanie Meyer published the last book in the Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn. They're planning on printing 750,000 copies of these, the first printing. Apparently, allegedly, this book was planned to be released in 2008 or somewhere around there after Breaking Dawn came out as a companion novel for the series, but an unedited manuscript of Stephanie Meyer's was leaked and the project was shelved. So that must have been a confusing time for many a Twilight fan. It's like, oh cool, we have the manuscript, but also some punk ruined it. I mean, the person who leaked that manuscript's house might have looked something like this for a little bit. Close the gates. And perhaps most interesting and of note is this book is meant to be written from Edward Cullen's perspective, and it will take place during the same time periods that the other books took place. So basically, it's our way to get Edward's perspective on what was going on during all of that. So that's interesting. There are many questions that I think we're all interested in having answered. Like, what is a many hundred-year-old vampire doing chasing after a teenage girl? I think we'd all really like to know. Or maybe we don't. Depends on how it comes out. The publisher of the Twilight Saga, Little Brown Books for Young Readers, submitted this statement to the press. Meeting beautiful, mysterious Bella is both the most intriguing and unnerving event he has experienced in his long life as a vampire. As we learn more fascinating details about Edward's past and the complexity of his inner thoughts, we understand why this is the defining struggle in his life. How can he let himself fall in love with Bella when he knows that he is endangering her life? And again, I would add, when he knows that she is not very old, and he literally accumulated more life wisdom in the past very small fraction of his life than she has total. So there's that. So I gotta hand it to Stephanie Meyer. If it's true that her manuscript was leaked in 2008, that's pretty disheartening. Shelving the project, I think, makes sense, because it's like, what are you gonna do? Go forward from there? I'm interested to see if she's just kind of waited to see if people would kind of forget all the things in that unedited manuscript, and now this is just a rehash of that, or if she's going to be scrapping a lot of what was in that and now just trying something totally new. I've not read that unedited manuscript because I don't support piracy. She's going to be up against the sequel curse, and we've talked about that in other videos, like the Mockingjay book video coming out. You know, it's difficult for an author to come back to a work that enjoyed a lot of success and then add to it. Of course, this isn't exactly like a traditional sequel. This is more like a companion novel because we are just kind of getting deeper into things that already happened. I think that takes the pressure off a little bit. We've seen some interesting stories that offer differing perspectives on one timeline. Jason Robert Brown's The Last 5 Years is a musical that tells the same story from two different perspectives. And, you know, that adds a lot of emotional weight. Disney's The Lion King 1.5 does this. So there's that. That came out way after The Lion King. Did it enjoy success? Hard to say. The True Story of the Big Bad Wolf by John Cieska. I hope I said your last name correctly, John. If not, email me. So the question becomes, can you deliver an interesting manuscript and narrative that is just looking for new crannies to investigate in a story that we kind of already know? And it depends. It depends on how engaging she's going to be able to make Edward's life outside of Bella, which, if you remember from the original books here, he, as soon as he met her, seemed to spend almost all of his time with her. So there's that. There's also something interesting about Edward's character that is going to make for, I think, a small difficulty that she will have to overcome as an author. Edward can read minds. And so if you're writing a first-person narrative from the perspective of a character that has telepathy that they can't exactly turn off, or at least not turn off easily, that's going to make for what could be a little bit of a confusing stream of conscience or a little bit of a polluted first person kind of book. But there are some things that, Twilight fans have to look forward to in a book like this. We can maybe get some more details on things that are still lingering after the last ones, let's say. We'll finally get to understand what all those broody, the glances exchanged between vampires are really about. What are they really thinking? Another question that I have is this going to be Edward's perspective through all of the other books, or just kind of one of the other books? I feel like it's got to be all, because she's not going to do 4 books from Edward's perspective. That'd be crazy, right? I mean, who's going to buy those? But if it does encompass all those books, are we going to get some more details on kind of the history and the stigma around these half-mortal, half-vampire things? Will we understand how involved the Volturi really are in just your average vampire's lives? Do we get deeper insights into the vegetarian versus carnivore vampire rivalry going on out there? And probably what a lot of Twilight fans are most interested in, are we going to get some greater details in the Jacob-Edward dynamic? I mean, sure, eventually they bonded over mutual caring for the same woman, but if you remember at the beginning, there was some bitterness going on there. Not just because of Bella, but just the werewolves and the vampires in that community they lived in did not get along. Do we get some details on that? I'd be interested to see some dirty secrets get kind of dug up there. Anyway, if you are into the Twilight books, there's a lot to speculate on. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I will say, admittedly, I am not the most reliable resource for everything Twilight, but I think some of those resources may view this video and may be available in the comments. So throw some stuff down there, and if you've got questions, I'm sure we can get some answers for you. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. I'm going to get back to writing my book. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the thumbs up sign for me. Thumbs up. Kenny, you did a good job. And hit subscribe so you don't miss any other videos. And I will catch you next time.